Okay, so one of the grinds that come up in the Educational Leader Facebook page was that the role needs more set guidelines as to what their role entails, especially with limited time given. I think this was definitely evident right at the beginning when the role first came in. We have one sentence, must be a suitably qualified person. So, but I think with lack of prescription gives opportunity to grow and evolve a role yourself as well. Like there's benefits to that, I think, as well. I mean, we've been delivering educational leadership since the role was first implemented. And from the beginning, we always talked about how that role really was that role of mentorship and supporting educators. I always sort of compared it to our role as an educator with children, because our role as an educator with children is to see what they're great at, what they're passionate about, and help them explore that. And I really think that's sort of equal when it comes to the education leader role and the educator role. It's, finding out who they are, finding out what they love about early childhood, finding out what their strengths are and really supporting them to evolve those. What do you think, Tash?
It's definitely about working to strengths. So working to strengths, then trying to mentor and guide the educators with the things that they might struggle with or they want some more help with. And I think because there's not as many guidelines around it, it helps to make it more contextual to your service, which I think is the main thing that we have to remember. Just like how we care for the children, we make it about our centre, where we're at, our families, our children. So it is about the educational leader role is how we fit that into our service as well. It's about our people other than what, the service down the road's doing. Hopefully theirs is completely different to what you're doing. So,
yeah, that's right. And I think we need to ensure that there's a lot of differentiation between the nominated supervisor role and the education leader role. Like it's not the education leader's role to performance manage. It's not, like they might gather information that the nominated supervisor might need, like someone who isn't up to date with their documentation, even though at the moment I don't think anyone is, but, but I think I have come across some education leaders that felt that they had to nearly police or be that compliance person, whereas that's not that role. And it's important to keep it clear, which is why it's sometimes hard to be the nominated supervisor and the education leader because it's so mixed that way. But I think if you are a standalone education leader, really seeing yourself as a mentor and to support people through things they might not be, but not feeling you've got to tick the boxes to check off what they might not be from a HR or performance management perspective.
Yeah. I also think too, I've heard quite a few ed leaders who get thrown into doing the QIP as well. So the QIP isn't the educational leader's role. They should be, having a lot of input into quality area 1, for example, but not having the QIP dumped on them, I guess.
No, and also like the QIP is a responsibility of everyone in the service. It's everyone should be not responsibility, but everyone should have a part in that and that the educational leader should contribute that way as well. But like you said, primarily from a responsibility perspective, quality area 1. But yeah, there's no higher expectation from the other quality areas than anyone else in the team. But definitely not that's their job. That's not at all. Some of the loves that people said about that, they love mentoring, inspiring, and teaching. So, I think that's one of the things I love about the education leader role is being able to connect educators or mentors in our perspective with information that just lights them up and gives them some words to the stuff that they're feeling. So like someone who I'm supporting at the moment is really interested in the neurodivergent and neurotypical conversation that's happening. And because it's so dynamic at the moment, there's so many different, not takes on it, but especially around language, but to find the perfect YouTube clip, or in this case, it was a TikTok, which is quite interesting. But there's a doctor that does these TikToks on this on that topic, and they're amazing. And when I found them, it was so great to find something that I knew she would connect with and would be really beneficial for her. And I think when you write your own job description when it comes to the educational leader, put all those words in there, like mentoring, inspiring, teaching, like seeing educators grow. I think really connecting it back to our role as an educator with children helps it become a bit more relatable and not so overwhelming, possibly. Like if you can sort of correlate it to that.
Yeah.
Especially from a relationship perspective.
I think relationships are a big part of the role.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we really focus and spend a lot of time valuing relationships between educators and children.
And families.
And if you can correlate that to our role as an education leader with our educators, there's going to be a bit more of a focus on that relationship building because we know how beneficial it is to then support someone to grow, which can be tricky, I guess, because it's not everyone likes to be that emotionally connected, I guess. Some people it can be a bit challenging. Well, I love it, you know that. But some people, especially if it's someone you don't tend to perhaps gel with as well, like that can be challenging.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like an instance where you've had to be an education leader to someone that perhaps wasn't someone you'd be best friends with outside of work?
Yes. I think everyone does because we don't all get along. So, but finding that medium. So you still need to be professional in the workspace, even if, you know, you might not feel that way outside of work. So, yeah, because it is just remembering to be professional, and you need to treat everybody
kindly,
with respect and kindness.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down is that kindness. I mean, if there was a child that you didn't really gel with, and I've had them, it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be kind to them or you wouldn't be or treat them as well as the other children that you would treat that you would engage with. So I think as an educational leader, that can be one of the challenges is really, I think, just ensuring that you see them as people, you know, and just understand that, you know, and that's your role is to meet their needs, not expect them to meet your needs, because that can be as a leader sometimes, and you can get stuck in that whole I need everyone to do this how I want it to be, whereas a true leader actually meets people where they are and meets their needs more so than the reverse, I guess. So
yeah, and reminding that other educators to be mindful of that too, like thinking about like, has the other educator got something going on at home that, you know, might be impacting their work? So there's a lot of empathy as well, like to think about when we're working with a lot of people in such close like environment as well. So
yeah, looking below the surface sometimes. Yeah, definitely. And again, that comes down to relationships. You're not going to know that stuff unless you have a relationship where someone feels that they can actually communicate those things with you as well. Yeah. Okay. I'll stop that one.